Tonight on your News at 5, Anchorage Fire Department crews battled a blaze at a commercial building in Midtown that started this morning. We have the latest details on the blaze. Then the Iditarod held its ceremonial start in downtown Anchorage. We'll take you there for all the excitement. And we have the latest on the fallout between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after Friday's White House meeting.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Anchorage Fire Department contained a blaze early this morning in a large Midtown commercial building. Crews arrived on scene around 7:17 a.m. in the 500 block of Potter Drive on Saturday. The Anchorage Fire Assistant Chief confirmed there were no injuries, saying he anticipates crews will be on site for most of the day while they work to gain access inside the building.
This is a particularly difficult fire because of the mixed commercial occupancies within the building and the high fire load, and just not much we know other than that right now.
The assistant chief also confirmed Potter Drive was opened back up a little after 1 p.m. as crews continue to investigate the cause of the fire. Fire trucks were on scene for 9 hours, and it took an hour and a half to put the fire out. Ukrainian President Zelensky is in London today. He thanked the American people and leadership and voiced hope for strong relations a day after a stunning Oval Office blowout with President Trump. Christian Benavides reports from West Palm Beach, Florida.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to London on Saturday.
I want to thank you, people of the United Kingdom, such big support from the very beginning of this war.
The meeting follows the berating seen around the world. President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance gave Zelensky in the Oval Office Friday.
God bless. You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
President Trump is spending the weekend at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach.
Before leaving D.C., Trump spoke to reporters about Zelensky's dressing down that sparked new questions about the next chapter in U.S. support for Ukraine.
He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things.
What became clear, and I think what has the president so frustrated and frankly angry, is that it's not clear that Zelensky truly wants to stop the fighting.
Many Republicans expressed support of the president after the showdown with Zelensky, but GOP Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska commented on the situation on X, calling it a regrettable conversation, showing the administration may try to end all U.S. support for Ukraine. Christian Benavides, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
As mentioned, Senator Lisa Murkowski posted a message to social media this morning responding to the Trump-Zelensky meeting. President Donald Trump's Oval Office thrashing of Ukraine's Zelensky has laid bare the limits of a full-court press by America's allies aimed at reshaping Trump's determination to end Russia's invasion, even if the terms are not to Ukraine's liking. Murkowski saying, quote, this week started with administration officials refusing to acknowledge that Russia started the war in Ukraine. It ends with a tense, shocking conversation in the Oval Office and whispers from the White House that they may try to end all U.S. support for Ukraine. I know foreign policy is not for the faint of heart, but right now, she says, I am sick to my stomach as the administration appears to be walking away from our allies and embracing Putin, a threat to democracy and U.S. values around the world, end quote. And the excitement was high on 4th Avenue today. Let's head over to the Weather Center for your first look at your forecast with Jackie Purcell.
Yes, as far as the conditions, weather conditions were not bad at all. We had even some sunny breaks as the Iditarod teams were going about their ceremonial start. You can see some of that action on our time lapse. And as I mentioned, the temperature's pretty bearable and there's a little bit of that sunshine, but you know, as soon as that race is over, the banner is taken down and you can see how warm it is across the Anchorage metro area. We have 40s spread throughout the Metro Bowl and even showing up on the higher elevations of the Anchorage Bowl. Here at Upper Diarmid, 41 in the last hour, and that's our highest temperature today. Normally, it's about 30 degrees, so 11 degrees above our expected high temperatures. 26 degrees today in Fairbanks, and those temperatures are going to get even warmer. We see a winter weather advisory, but it's not going to start until late on Sunday for the western portion of the state. Meantime, to the north, a blizzard warning has been extended to midnight. In South Central, it'll be wet weather for the most part, with rounds of still rain and higher amounts going to the eastern sides of the Kenai Peninsula into Prince William Sound, where they could see by the time we hit Monday evening more than 3 inches in Whittier, almost 2 around Seward. And this is why you can see these rounds of rain and snow pushing right into these central coastal locations. Our high temperature, well, that was fast. Well, we'll tell you that it is going to be 41 degrees for the high temperature in the Anchorage area as we start out our day tomorrow, and 36 degrees. Why does it keep doing that? Oh, well. Here's a look at we'll have a look at our forecast coming up a little bit later at Tell Me.
Thank you, Jackie. We'll check in with you in just a few minutes. Iditarod made its ceremonial start in downtown Anchorage today. Our reporter Joe Allgood was there, got to see what the spectators were excited about, and brings us the story.
Well, I'm here above 4th Avenue. Behind me is the starting line for Iditarod, the ceremonial start at least. And off to the left is a whole lot of rides for Front Rendezvous, and there are crowds everywhere as people are getting excited for the last great race on Earth. With the event officially kicking off at 10, crowds began gathering well before the first sled teams lined up at the start. All of 4th Avenue was covered in crowds, though longtime viewers and spectators of the fabled race noted that this year's was a good deal smaller than years past. Though pushing through the throng still presented its challenges. As it got closer to race time, spectators eagerly watched for their favorite dogs or mushers. Whether coming from right here in Anchorage or not, the ceremonial race marked an exciting day for many.
I think it's great. Never done it before. Always wanted to. And my daughter moved up here and get to do it. Get to be here. So, yeah, it's fun. It's kind of a shame there's not as much snow as there should be, but they make it work.
I've watched a little bit of it before, but this is my first year actually really wanting to watch it.
And do you have a favorite part about Iditarod?
Not really. I just like watching the dogs race.
I'll have more reactions from the crowds and those here at Iditarod later tonight on The Late Edition. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Alongside spectators and sled teams at the starting line was a group from PETA creating what they call the Dog Graveyard to protest the race. Protesters held signs meant to look like tombstones of dogs that have died in prior years of Iditarod. One of the protesters said he was surprised by how receptive members of the crowd were to speaking with them and hearing the message they were trying to spread. Some passerby raised opposition to the protest and voiced their disagreement with the group. The protesters also said they spoke with several members of Iditarod while they were there.
We would like to see the race evolve to be feats of human endeavor or maybe a race with snow machines. But there's no reason to have these dogs who cannot consent be running to their deaths. I think this is the 21st century and dogs deserve better.
If they're going to spend millions of dollars with PETA, maybe PETA should work with what they're trying to be against and find a way to, like anybody, work with somebody instead of, see, they could be supplying fencing, pens for these people instead of making such a big deal about.
The group wants to see remaining sponsors of the race pull their support as previous sponsors have and ultimately want to see Iditarod without dog sled teams. The protesters said they will also be present at the official start of the race in Fairbanks on Monday.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.